today, I'll be grateful to Dr. Dushanta Natagidara as the president of KSM for inviting me for this lecture. This after break, so we have been hearing talks most of the time with regard to COVID-19 during last 2-3 months. So I thought I'll be talking on something different, which is important for most of the doctors who are working in emergency departments and surgical specialities and subspecialties, and we see a lot of cases after the post-lockdown period as well. So this is something very common for us during throughout the year. So my topic is road to research. So I will be focusing on initial management of trauma with emphasis given to pre-hospital care as well. It is something new to us, something developing in our country as well, because we have been having a pre-hospital ambulance services recently running and functioning well, and in time to come there will be specialist doctors who will also be available for this retrieval and pre-hospital care services. So why I thought of talking with regard to trauma. It's all over the world. It's 5.8 million deaths in all age groups according to the WHO in 2013. And in Sri Lanka, according to health statistics, 2017 we had over 1 million hospital admissions due to trauma, and with that we had more than 1,800 deaths. And with trauma, majority are due to road traffic accidents. In all over the world, there were more than 1 million deaths due to road traffic accidents. Why this is important for us? It says the mortality with regard to road traffic accidents are more common in developing countries like us. So we have to have a good system to treat and transfer them safely. Otherwise, we also feel the same situation. So if you see this map, so most of the developing countries has high mortality rates. So nothing is complete without a bit of history. So until 1975 and 76, there was no proper trauma care services around the world. So there was a very unfortunate incident happened to a US orthopedic surgeon when he was flying in his own aircraft with his family. The plane was crashed, and the wife dead on the scene, and his children were injured. So he himself witnessed what happened to his family members, and he was not happy what they got as a treatment. So with the collaboration of American College of Surgeons, they introduced a systemic approach to trauma, that's advanced trauma life support, in 1978. At the same era, in 1970s, there were drastic changes in medical retrieval and aeromedical retrieval throughout the world, mainly in United States, Europe and Australia. So both together made huge impact on trauma and its management to bring the survival rates up. So this is one of the commonest diagrams we have seen throughout. So in a trauma, we talk about trimodal death distribution. So there are deaths, majority within minutes to hours, and there are a number of deaths happening after hours to days and over the weeks. So first deaths within few minutes to hours is unpreventable. So those are due to severe head trauma and spinal trauma, and also great vessel injuries or cardiac injuries. But all the other 50% are due to airway problems, bleeding and infection. So those are the traumas we have to prevent their mortality and morbidity. So if you have a good trauma care services, we'll be able to prevent this 50%. So there are a few terms used in trauma care. One is golden hour in trauma. Of course, this was introduced by Dr. Adam Cowley. He's a military surgeon. Early and prompt treatment will reduce mortality and morbidity. Obviously, it is. And this should not be taken as a strict thing, like strict time period, because like they are like if you will be have good survival rates if you can come early, but later there are no evidences late more than 60 minutes has increased mortality. But it is good thing if you go early, you have to treat them early. And not in hours, again like in trauma cares, come into minutes. Because of the pre-hospital care development, there are first 10 minutes of after receiving the rescue team, so the treatment will be started. So they are talking about the platinum 10 minutes. So from hours they have reduced it to minutes. And also for the pre-hospital care, usually once the pre-hospital care team comes to the scene, they should get the patient within 10 minutes to a facility area like trauma center. So with that, I'll be talking how to approach to a trauma victim. So the process has, first part is the pre-hospital care, and so once the patient comes to the hospital, the patient will be like assessed. First the primary assessment with the rapid resuscitation, and also once the primary survey is completed, you go for the thorough secondary survey, followed by the diagnostic test and disposition. So there are instances where like once you do the primary survey and resuscitation, patient may be disposed to operative theatre for further management. And in trauma, there are a few things. Don't get distracted with ugly injuries. So this is what's happening before the trauma care services, trauma systems introduced, because we were focusing on the injuries, not the according to systematic approaches. So the concept of advanced trauma life support has a systematic approach. There will be like A, B, C, D, E, and importantly, you have to work as a team, not as an individual. And a lack of definitive diagnosis should never impede the application of indicated treatment. So you don't have to wait for the diagnosis to treat. And detailed history is not essential in beginning the evaluation. So these are a bit different to some of our practice. So that's why these are major breakthroughs in trauma care. So for effective trauma system, it should be a teamwork, as I said, with emergency medical services and emergency medicine specialists and trauma surgery and surgical subspecialties and intensivists and anesthetists. It's a combination of them. So this is a scene of a trauma, like a road traffic accident, where EMS with their doctors and specialized nurses have come and they are trying to take the patient to the hospital. So I'll talk a few things about the pre-hospital care and retrieval. It's a fascinating field where in my foreign training I had exposed to one of the pioneers or consultants in medical retrieval. So it's a transfer of critically ill patients using a specialized clinical staff, a transport platform, and with equipment. It's done by the emergency medical services, comprised of specialized doctors and specialized nurses. The training they have got not only through the road, aeromedical training as well. And there are strategies they use to get the patient to the hospital. There are commonly two things: scoop and run where they don't spend much time on the scene. They get the patient, get hold, and transfer to the hospital. The other one is when the patient is complicated, and when if they find that they need some decompression and stuff, they stay and play. But these two has their own advantages and disadvantages. According to their expertise, they use whatever they have to do. And which transport method is best? Sometimes this is not applicable, but in time to come, I think like we also have these things as well. So there are no best transport modes, but it's all depend on its availability. There are some factors. So you have to consider few things: the speed, the distance. So usually in a country, the bigger country like where I work in Australia, they use like first 50 kilometers you go by road, 50 to 175 you go with the helicopter, and more than 175 kilometers go with the fixed wing aircraft. And also it's depend on the availability and training cost. Everything matters when you are selecting the transport mode to the hospital.